Welcome back. No more band-aids. So as I sit here, it's been about 3 weeks since my little oopsie on the table saw. The damage is not as bad as I thought it was at first. It looks a little funny, but it's a lot closer to normal than I thought it was going to be at first, so I am not complaining. All right, with that said, why am I out here? Last fall, I was working on fairing out my propellers. At the time, I had been borrowing my neighbor's compressor, and it had a problem where it was overheating and shutting down, and it wouldn't start for an incredibly long time. So I picked up a new compressor. It's rated for like 3 CFM at 90 PSI, which is not enough to do sandblasting. But funny enough, I had just sent out an email to I think 4 or 5 different sandblasting companies in my area asking if anybody would take on such a small job as sandblasting the prop. Only one got back to me and said that they would try to squeeze it in between jobs and it was going to be 140 Canadian an hour. For those who didn't watch the original video, there's a lot of pitting that goes only about 1 millimeter or 2 deep. That's one of the deeper ones right there. I had reached out to West Systems about potentially using some epoxy. This is the G-Flex 655 thickened epoxy adhesive to try to fill in those little divots and fair out the propeller. For this to work, I need to key the surface, which is why I need the original sandblasting. But once I put this on, it's not going to be perfectly smooth. I'm going to have to sand it and fair it myself. And then when I'm done, I'll have to sandblast it again because I want to put prop speed on it, which is it's not an anti-foul. They're very careful about saying that. It's a foul release. So if I took it to another company, I would have to take it at least twice. And that's assuming I got this right on my first try, which it's my first time ever doing this, so that's not likely. By complete coincidence, literally like 2 days after I sent out the email, Project Farm, I'll link their video, they do a lot of tool reviews and they did air compressors. Now, they didn't test sandblasting. Again, it's not the point of these small compressors. They're meant for like brad nailers and stuff. But one of the ones he reviewed was the Dewalt here. It wasn't too expensive. I think I got it for 350 Canadian. That's 2 hours. Well, okay, 3 hours. After 3 hours, I would be back in the positive. Obviously, I can't take this on the boat. I'm very reluctant these days to buy tools that I can't take on the boat. And either I can sell it or I can give it to my neighbor or I'll figure something out with it. Point is, I think it's going to be cheaper in the long run to have my own compressor. Now, as I mentioned, I think you need like 15 CFM, cubic feet per minute at 90 PSI. This will only do 3, so it won't sustain the sandblaster, but it'll kick in and start recharging. I think it was 94 PSI, and it recharges pretty quickly. It also goes up to, it's technically rated for 200 PSI, but I think it's valved for 150 PSI. So if I let it charge up to 150, I have a bit of time where I can spray as it's coming down, and when I hear it kick in, I know I'm close to 90, and I stop and I'll just let it charge back up until the compressor turns off, and I'll do it again. It's gonna be slow and tedious, but this is small, not very expensive, and it should do the job. It's not quiet, but it's not as loud as I thought it was going to be. Neat. I've got you set a fair ways back, but I've got the danger cam closer. This is copper slag. Now it's been out for a year, and I'm noticing the top is a little moist. I'm hoping that's not going to be an issue. I mean, it's blowing air. It should dry it out, or just huff it out, one of the two. And now I will go quiet. There is a regulator on there that you dial. The pressure went to like 190 degrees, and then the dial I've set to 105, I said degrees, PSI. I think that means this will come out at 105 rather than 150, and hopefully will take longer to bleed down. I don't know, figuring all this out for the first time. Oh yeah, this is clumpy. Oh, that's probably not good. Oh well. It's not super clumpy. Works better when it's down. Just waiting for that thing to turn off. So the moisture is definitely causing it to clump. You probably saw me banging it, but it's not the end of the world. And this stuff is not cheap, so I'll muddle through. I got this blue bucket when I bought the outboard for $100. I went yesterday looking for a container to use to try to catch as much of the media as possible. These are like $50. Now, granted, this is not new, but makes me feel even better about buying the outboard for $100. Also, if anyone's wondering why I'm doing this instead of finishing the battery box, it's because today is one of the first kind of nice days. It's like 14 degrees Celsius outside. So I want to get this done while the weather allows, because this is fall spring. This won't last. And I can work on the battery box in the evening after it gets dark. Even with the camera set back a fair ways, it's still gritty. So is my sweater. Okay, I'll show you the blades. Is it good enough? Huh? I don't know. Certainly feels a lot more keyed. I guess, I don't know if it's coming across on camera, but it's definitely textured now. I was holding on to this because I didn't want to have any sandblast hit the gears. There's the next one. I probably should have hit that a little bit more, but that's okay. This one's nicely keyed. I'm not quite sure what I did differently here. Though the black makes me think there's some junk in there, so I'm gonna have to take, I don't know, I'll try to figure out how to wash it. I wanna make sure that the epoxy has the best chance of bonding. So as these things go, it's been a couple of days. One of them, I don't know if you can see here, it's a bit darker than the others. And the slag I was using is black, which makes me worry there's some contamination on this, but don't really know how I could potentially get it off. So, well, just hope for the best. You can see there some of the divots we need to fill. It's already warm in here. Actually, I'm gonna be using epoxy. I don't want to wear my sweater anyway. Definitely a work clothes day. So I watched a couple videos on how to use this G-Flex. It's designed specifically for metal, but one of the things I'm a little bit nervous about is it is sandable, they say, but it stays flexible. So it's really useful for emergency repairs underwater and stuff like that. It'll cure underwater. It's apparently really good stuff and expensive, but it's a bit flexible. So when I fill this and then I go to sand it after to make it smooth, I'm hoping it's rigid enough that I can actually sand it. Ma'am, what are you doing? That's wood. You're a carnivore, not a cow. See this stuff here? Hardener, resin. I've used two-part epoxies before, like 25 years ago in a previous career I did, so I've got an idea of how this works. But basically, you put out the resin, you put out an equal amount of hardener, you mix them together. I took some of the white oak offcuts and broke them up to be stir sticks, and just basically slather it on and wait for it to cure. This has a fairly long working time. Do I have a knife? I have a pull saw. I'm going to mix it on the cardboard, and then I will smear it onto here, and I'm probably going to do this in two passes. One, I will do one side, and then probably tomorrow I'll come back and do the other side. Anyways, yada yada yada, let's start working. Okay, ma'am, I'm going to take you upstairs, okay? Okay, that one's open. That one's open. I'm going to do just a little bit. I'd rather mix up more later than to have extras left over, given how expensive this is. Now, I was watching videos of this. They were using cardboard as well, so I'm hoping that's okay. Now, they said to mix it for 2 minutes. Oh, maybe I didn't make enough. But one of the videos I was watching, they also said 2 minutes was probably overkill, but that's how they do their testing, is by mixing it for 2 minutes to make sure it's thoroughly oh, yeah, okay, I definitely didn't make enough. Well, that's okay, it's a start. Oh, this smells lovely. Well, it's okay. I'd rather start with too little than too much. I should probably be wearing gloves. In fact, I think I have some. This has fairly long working time, so I'm not in a super huge rush. It's like in dozens of minutes. Oh, I do not like gloves. Okay, it seems to be a uniform color. I'm gonna give it a go now. And you can see this one, it's the first thing I'm gonna try doing. Now it's thick, but it's not super thick. Oh yeah, not even close to enough. Now I'm not trying to build it up or anything, I just want to smooth the surface so that when the water's running over it, it doesn't get extra turbulence. I mean, really, this might not even be needed, but I'm curious. I don't know if you guys can see this very well. I'm kind of focused on making sure I cover it well, so I apologize if this is not coming through clearly on camera. I was wondering if I was going to want a vacuum to try to get the bubbles out, but this stuff is really thick and it doesn't seem to have a problem with bubbles. I'm starting to think the approach is just put a full smear on it, and then I'll come back and I'll sand it or use the file later. Sorry if I'm not really speaking right now, I'm kind of just trying to figure this out for myself. More specifically, I'm trying to make this go over the entire blade. I might end up having to do a few passes where I epoxy sand until I feel like it's really fared out. As I scrape, I fear I'm digging into the low spots and pulling the resin out. Okay, I'm gonna stop there on that one. This one I particularly want to build up right around here. Yeah, this one's really not bad. This one is definitely worse. Through here and through here. Like, it looks really bad, but it's actually not that deep. I'd say at most there's like a millimeter difference. Ah! That was my bad finger. Okay, stupidity should hurt. Now, I didn't find a lot of videos out there on using this 655 epoxy, so I'm going to make this its own video. But one thing I saw was that temperature really makes a difference in how this stuff cures. I was a knife channel that was talking about that. Right now it's 18 degrees Celsius in my house, which I think is warm enough, but I might put the, I don't know, I'll figure something out. But anyways, that's one thing that I saw, was that temperature makes a big difference, so I thought I'd share that with you. You see how it's different colors right now? It's not quite thoroughly mixed, bit white, bit yellow. You want the color consistent, from what I understand. What a mess I'm making here. Okay, I think that's relatively well mixed. Okay, you know what? I think just smearing it over and then making sure I've got some thickness in the thin areas is the best I can do. The right thing to do would be to send this off to PSI, the company that I was talking with before. I'll put their name on screen and have them rebuild it. But that would be expensive. And that's not something I can do right now. On top of the fact that we're in the middle of the trade dispute with the States, and this would have to cross the border, so who knows what would happen there. But yeah, if you've got more money, don't do this. Send it off and get it rebuilt properly. Now, there's some rough edges on this prop, so I'm trying to build it up on the edges so that I can hopefully take some of that roughness out of the edge. Okay, let's set that down. Now, do I try mixing my next run right on the same cardboard and just keep going? I'm gonna try that. The kicking time, or the working time, is slow enough that it should be okay. I imagine that if you mix this more than 50-50 hardener, you could shorten up the kick time if you're comfortable. Well, if you're comfortable, you're not watching me. And if you have less hardener, I think it'll still kick. It'll just take longer to kick. Trying different mixing techniques with each of these batches too. This actually seems to be a really good way to mix it. This time I'm going to try just smearing the whole damn thing onto the blade. And just start spreading. Just like making a cake. Okay, so that's a big one I want to make sure is full. It's kind of like the more I use, the less chance I have of having to do a second run. But the more I use, the more I'm going to have to sand away. This would probably actually help make an electrical protection if I actually coated the whole thing in this. Help prevent against galvanic corrosion. I'm not doing it for that reason, and I don't plan to leave a thin film over all of it. But I wonder if that would actually be a... Well, no, because I'd have to do the entire prop for it to make a difference. And then it would just corrode the prop shaft and the whole thing would fall off. So, you know, you're screwed either way if you've got galvanic leakage. Or DC leakage, galvanic corrosion. No, don't touch it. That's it, I'm done. There we go. Yeah, that was the one that's a lot more black. I got a little bit on the back here, but that's okay, I'll clean them off. Does it say? There it is. Pot life is 45 minutes, working time is 75 minutes, gel time is 3 to 4 hours, and cure time is 7 to 10 hours. So I'm not touching these until tomorrow. Did I put too much on here to make my life miserable? Or did I wish I put thicker on? Well, we'll see. All right, it's been not quite 24 hours. The surface is still tacky. If you look here, I put my fingerprint in it. I don't know if that's coming through on camera. Yeah, it might just be the surface. That feels fairly glossy, but if you recall, I mentioned that I found a video from a knife manufacturer who said that heat helps with curing. I've had the house at about 18 Celsius, but the temperature thingy is upstairs, so it's likely colder down here. So I'm going to set these up and put some heat on them for a few hours, and then I will revisit them. Trying to figure out how to make sure the heat hits all of them. Okay, I'm gonna give this, I don't know, maybe 3 hours, and I'll come down and I'll see if that's hardened up anymore. If it hasn't, I'm just gonna go ahead and epoxy the other side, and then I'll leave it on the heat overnight and check it again tomorrow. If it is harder, I'm going to try sanding it and see what I'm in for, and then after that I'll do the other side. So for me it's going to be a few hours. For you, yeah, it's still a little soft, but it is hardening up. So heat is definitely important. All right, I am going to give it another hour or so. Ow. Ah! God, that finger's tender. I really want to try sanding it at the orbital there. I have to be careful. I don't want to get it and take too much bronze off, but I want to use the machine to get down to the metal. Ah, that hurt. Okay, back to waiting. All right, it's been about 3.5 hours now. The back of the blades are hot, so I know the heat's transferred through. Oh, it's actually, I don't know if you can see here, see how much more matte it is compared to this being shiny? That one's still pretty shiny, and I can feel a little bit of, oh, that's much better. This was the one that was directly in front of the heat. These two were off to the side, and you can still see they're pretty shiny. Okay, heat, definitely the way to go when you're dealing with G-Flex. Turn that off for a minute. I really want to see how this sands. I think what I'm going to do, I'm deciding this as I talk to you right now. I'm going to try sanding this. It's got a little bit of the shiny at the end, so I can see how much it gums up the sandpaper. And then I can see the matte. Ooh, wow, that's really warm. Well, maybe I will. The problem is if it's gooey, it's just going to gum up the sandpaper super quickly, and I mean, I'll just go through sandpaper, but maybe it's just the very top that's gooey. Let's do some science. I'm going to try this mesh net. I'm telling you that now because once I put this on, you're not going to be able to see it. I'm going to bring you in so you can look down. Oh, I forgot to change it. But I will say, I got the end. Oh, you're probably having a hard time hearing me. I got the end that was still shiny, and it didn't really gum up the paper. Okay, I am encouraged. So I'm starting to show through here to the bronze, and you can see here is one of the fills. That's down to bronze, and I cannot feel the transition at all. This is good. This is very good. You can see I'm starting to expose the edges. I want to be very, very careful not to take any more bronze off than I absolutely have to get this thing smooth again. So I am probably going to just let the cameras roll and just keep sanding. This is looking really good. This is looking really, really good. So one of the things I'm not sure, but there's a little bit of a divot here. There must have been an air bubble. I'll touch that up when I do the other side. This here, I'm tempted to go until it's flat, but I'm going around and around and around, and I'm thinking that whole area is just divoted it out. So I'm going to go until this is, well, even then, if I close my eyes, this feels smooth. There's a little bit of a divot. Okay, so I'm not going to clean this anymore. I think this whole section is just in. This is kind of working like a plane in that I'm trying to use it to get an even curve, a fair curve. This here area is really bad as well. But anyways, I'm just going until it gets relatively smooth. It's not going to be perfect. Of course, it's never going to be perfect again. It's an old prop. I'm just trying to get a couple seasons out of it. So much better than it was. I am really happy with how this is working. So happy, in fact, that I'm going to move on to these ones as soon as I finish this one. I am very, 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 very happy with how this turned out. I am ecstatic. You see how there was that divot there? I've got to come along and hit the edges, but I'm going to do that by hand after. And also I've got a little bit of run back here, but I'll do that also when I finish the other side. Ha! I am very, 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 very happy. This is amazing. Okay, back to it. No, it's not clogging. So I have the same issue here. Is that a divot? Is that supposed to be there? Has this all been chewed out? Should I sand this flatter? I don't know. This is hard on the hands. I think that is where it should be, because I've got high spots. Well, it might be, oh no, 'cause that, I'll hit it here a little bit more. I'm hitting the high spots, so I think that this fill and this fill is actually needed. I wish there was a way for me to get across on camera how smooth this is now. I'm really, 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 really happy with that. Look at the difference. Okay, restart the camera and do the last one. A little something for the Discord. Oh, this shirt is so ratty. Oh, that's exactly why I'm wearing it. Ugh, getting a bit warm there, making a pile of sweaters. See along here, it really feels like I'm leaving too much here, but you can see I'm really digging into the bronze on either side and along up here. I don't know if you saw, I was trying to work it to get down to this, but I think this is really just eaten out. So I'm gonna call that. Oh, my hands are vibrating. I'm gonna turn off the camera and clean up, and I'll bring you back before I do my next epoxy. All right, which one had the divot I wanted to touch up? That one did, okay. I wiped them off with paper towel and I can feel a little paper towel dust, so I'm just making sure I got all that off. So I'll give that just a wee little touch right there, and then I'll just flip it over, and actually I'll do the, whatever, I'll figure it out as I go. Now, do I do one great big mix, or do I do 3 small mixes? I'm gonna do 3 small mixes. I think I've got a little less hardener than epoxy, so I'm going to put just a wee bit more in there. That should be closer. Oh yeah, I did the swirl technique last time and that worked quite well. This one's actually not too bad, all things considered. I think I'll try scraping it out a bit more than I did last time, so I don't have to sand as much tomorrow. Oh, this stuff definitely has an aroma. It's chewed up a little bit more towards here, so try to make sure I get some of the thickness up this way. Okay, this corner is where I want the most thickness. Okay, let's call that one done. Mix up our next batch. Wiping off the gloves because I don't want to cover this stuff in sticky goo. This one is mostly wasted through here. The base is actually in pretty good shape on this one. It's hard to tell if I've actually filled this, so I'm going over it a few times just to try to make sure I've thickened it up enough. Okay. I'm using a new piece of cardboard because when I squeezed this out, technically there was a little bit of catalyst in there, and I don't want any catalyst left in the tube. So this time when I squeeze it out, it'll be fresh. If there was a little tiny catalyst at the tip, it should now be squeezed out. I don't know what it takes to spoil the leftovers, so I don't want to take any chances. How did you get down here? Katso, you are many things, but stupid is not one of them. Sir? Okay. just a little dollop right there. There's a nice divot right here, so I want to make sure I have some buildup there. Okay. All right, and there we go. Now, I don't want to leave the heat, thank you. I don't want to leave the heat on overnight while I'm sleeping, so I'm going to turn it on now, but I'll turn it off before I go to sleep, and then tomorrow when I get up, I'll turn it back on and I'll let it run on this. And hopefully that'll help clear it up or cure it better for when I go to sand it tomorrow. One thing I should note, when you're working with oils, you have to be really careful not to let the oil rags to sit in a bunch because they can heat up, and that's actually one of the theories why they think the Notre Dame caught fire. Epoxy is exothermic, it does generate heat, but that thin, it will not get anywhere close to hot enough to be a problem. Harsh shadows. What is that cat up to? For me, I have to wait until tomorrow. For you, I got dust in my fingers. All right, another 24 hours later. No tackiness at all. I don't know if you can see the texture. Yeah, it feels rigid. Heat's the way to go if you're using the 655. I think I might have made these a bit thicker, so there's probably going to be more sanding. I will record it and I'll decide whether I'm going to do a time lapse or just cut. We'll see. All right, that's the first one completely done. I said it was done and it's not. It'll be easier to see if there's any still around the collar after I finish cleaning them up, but there's no sense washing it now because I'm going to keep making some more dust. All right, that's two. There's a fair bit of meat still in the middle of this one. And, well, I don't know if you can see, but right at the edge there, it goes right out to the edge, which makes me think that's actually divoted in. One of the things I'm gonna have to do, I haven't talked about this yet, but I did know this from the beginning, is balance. These three blades are going to be different weights now. Arguably, they were different weights on the trip home because they had corroded to different amounts, and I never noticed any vibration. So I think it's not going to be a huge deal, but I will get a kitchen scale. I don't have one right now, I have to buy one. And I'll weigh them, and if any of them are particularly out from the others, if it's one like this that has some resin, I can try taking that down a bit further. If it's one that's too light, I can try putting a bit of a layer on it. I'll have to see how much they're out by. Right now it's get it smooth, later we'll get it balanced. Okay, I have one more to do. All right. All right, my hands are vibrating. Let me clean up. I'll turn off the camera for that, and then I'll bring you back before I wipe it down. That'll probably be satisfying. Well, hey, hon, you gonna come down and see the finished product? Oh, my hands are tingling from running that sander for so long. Oh, this feels so much better. I wish I could convey to you how this feels. Like right there, I can feel a little bit of texture. But all along here feels perfectly smooth. Like it still looks so bad, but it feels smooth. And at the end of the day, that's all I really care about. Does the water flow over it smoothly? I know I need a new propeller. I just don't want to pay for it right now. The MaxProp Easy 17-inch is the one I would buy to replace this. And it is $4,000 US, plus duties, plus taxes, plus tariff. So that's why I'm putting so much effort into trying to save this, even just for a few seasons. Okay. Actually, I'll bring you in and I'll show you what it looks like up close, and then I'll call it a video. So there's prop 1, prop 2, and prop 3. I'll flip them over like a pancake, and there we go. I need to reassemble this. I'm not going to put the prop speed on until the boat is ready to go in the water. And that means that the props are effectively done, except I have to put them back together and set their pitch. Now, the modern type of MaxProp, it's called the Easy, and it's, well, easy to change the pitch. This is the classic, it is not. I don't remember how to set the pitch, so I'm going to make that its own video in case it's useful as a kind of tutorial for people in the future. Again, I know I need to weigh them, but barring that, I consider this a massive success. I am very, 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 very happy with how this came out. I'm a lot more confident that I'm going to get a couple more seasons out of it. Okay, I am the Digital Mermaid. I have to get back to finishing building a battery box now that my finger's mostly usable. It has been 1 month, almost to the hour. It's a Friday night, and it was a Friday night 4 weeks ago that I mangled my finger, and it feels weird, but it's good enough. I can get back and finish the battery box. Okay, thank you. Bye. Okay, I'm not making a video out of it, but I've been cleaning and now I'm just starting to flush the hot water tank. Look at all the shit that's coming out of her. It's like sand. Well, see how much more comes out.